They remain committed to building a winner around Dame. However committed they remain, they haven't done a good job of doing it in the last couple of years. Shady, you're a huge Dame Lillard fan. Most of NBA sports world is. Most sports fans are huge Dame fans. But is it a mistake for Portland to keep holding on to Dame Lillard?
Yes, it is. Joy, what's that song? Something Anderson. Heard it all before, baby. Like, what's that song called? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, you don't want me to sing it.
I keep hearing him say, yo, oh my God, we're standing behind Dame. We're trying to build around him. We're going to get that championship type of team. Where? You have a chance in the draft to maybe trade the draft pick to get something else or draft something that other skill set than a point guard. You draft another point guard. And Scoot is a point guard that's going to be there for quite some time.
Yep.
Scoot Henderson is going to be a top point guard in this league 2-3 years from now, right? So you have to develop him. How is this team going to help Dame get to a championship? I'm sorry, better yet. How is this team going to help Dame get to the playoffs? I don't see them going to the playoffs. Next year, we're going to be the same thing. We're going to be talking up here. Should the Trailblazers let him go? What are they trying to do? Are they going to help him out? Should they let him go? Well, Miami would be great for him. What about the Bucks? What about the Sixers? No. Give Dame a favor, Trailblazers, and let him go. Let him be this great player for another team. He's gave you so many great years there, where most players would have left.
True.
So I think they're holding him back.
Here's my only reason I don't think the Blazers should let go of Dame, Joy. It's very simple. When you let go of generational talents, typically, if you are not in a destination city or a destination team, you end up in that sports purgatory for only God knows how long. I think about OKC. They move on from KD. You move on from Westbrook.
Right.
They have just kind of been in NBA purgatory. Why do you think that the likes of the Minnesota Timberwolves, after they moved on from Kevin Garnett, were just in the NBA's purgatory for years? They stumbled into a Kevin Love and stumbled right on out of him. They just ended up in purgatory. I think of even the likes of LeBron James with Cleveland. When you find yourself with a talent, and Dame is clearly not LeBron James, but when you find yourself with a generational caliber of talent, a top 75, a top 100 player, and you're not in a destination city, you don't really have a choice. For me, one of the best comps is actually, and also, Paul George with the Pacers.
Okay.
The Pacers were relevant when PG was there. 2013 to 2017, 2012 to 2018, right around there. I forget the exact year he was drafted, but they were relevant when PG was there.
They had players, though. They had some players.
Did.
They had some players,
They
though.
did.
Hubert, they had Lance Stevenson. They had some players.
They had some
defense.
guys. But they ain't been talked about or relevant since. So you don't let go of top 75, top 100 players if you don't have to, Joy. That's where I'm at with it. I don't think it's a mistake. I'm
kind of with you. They're not a superiorly run organization. They're not bad. I don't think of them as dysfunctional, but I don't think of them as great. They're not a destination, like you said. They're not going to get free agents. And they're kind of tethered in a way to Dame. I would love for them to do that. But Dame's talked about how he wants to be loyal to them. Can you imagine now if they came out and after all this loyalty talk and after all of him saying that he wants to be there for the entirety of his career, coming out and saying, hey, we want to move Dame? I mean, it would be earth-shattering. Yeah. So I don't see them doing that for that purpose. Also, we have to keep in mind, it's not sexy to talk about, but it is a business. They do need to sell tickets. They do need to sell jerseys. They need to get people in the building. And if you are in sports purgatory, in a place where you're not going to get free agents, then you have to hope that all the young talent's going to develop into something new and exciting. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it's a disaster. Now, you can talk about the organization being responsible for that, but I think that the Blazers are in a spot where now they have no choice but to continue saying we're going to build around Dame. But to Shady's point, when is that going to happen?
Well, yeah, show me your actions. And then, and just real quick, before you go, we also about the ticket sales. Who's going to see the Portland Trailblazers when they're second to last in the West? Who's selling tickets? I catch it on TV. Y'all being slick, come on.
Yeah. Well, look, the other shoe that I referenced is I need to hear from Damian and his agent that they're on with this. It makes perfect sense for me that the Blazers would say, no, we're going to continue to build around him. And I would say until Damian says, I want out, that's what I would do, because they did go to the playoffs 8 straight times. They went to the playoffs 8 out of the 11 years that he's been there. When you're Portland, it sounds good for every team and every fan base to say, well, we want to win a championship. When are we going to win a championship? And the harsh reality, and this applies to the NFL as much as the NBA and Major League Baseball, not every team is trying to win a championship. I hate to break that to America, but your team is not necessarily trying to win a championship. You know what they're trying to do? They're trying to put out an entertaining product that's going to make them profitable. That's their number one goal. The owner wants to put money in his pocket. And Damian Lillard, for a market like Portland, when you fall into a guy that is the face of your franchise, the way Damian has been, and he gets you consistently to the playoffs, even though you can't get free agents there unless you overpay for them, you don't just let that go willingly. So
what is Portland trying to do? Are they trying to win championships, or has that window of championship closed? Did it close right around 2020 when Nurk and Gary Trent Jr. and McCollum, and did it close in that window when that was that last best chance?
What they're ultimately trying to do is they're trying to convince Damian that they are making progress towards giving him a shot at some point before he retires. That ultimately, based on them saying, we're going to continue to build around him, that's what they're trying to do. This is not selling it to anybody else but Damian Lillard.
Got a hand raised.
Question for you, right?
Yes, sir.
I know you're the basketball expert, right? And sometimes I get in my own opinion, so I need to just ask some questions. So my thing is, okay, they had a meeting, and they're committed to him being loyal, and we're going to try to build a team around him to potentially get a chip, right? That's okay, that's what we're talking about?
Yeah.
So my thing is, like, the last 5 years, they've had one all-star, right? It's Dame. It's Dame. So how are we bringing players here? You see what I'm saying? To help me out. Because you go in third pick overall in the draft, you go get a point guard. That's what I play.
Right.
I'm Dame Lillard. I play point guard. You go get a point guard. How are you trying to build around me to get better? You get what I'm saying? So, like, I don't see it happening. Where's it at?
Well, when you're picking there, you're picking the best available talent to you.
Okay.
It's not necessarily like big picture, how do these pieces fit? Do I pick for need or do I pick talent? But you also have a brand new GM in that position who's trying to move these pieces around. And so there are no easy solutions here. But until Damian Lillard says to me, I want to go someplace else. And keep in mind,
he ain't gonna do it.
The Blazers coming out and saying we're wed to this, I'm not even sure I buy that's the absolute truth. Because didn't we get the same thing in Brooklyn? When Joe Tsai and Sean Marks and Kevin Durant, and they all got together, and it was like, hey, we've found a way, we're moving forward, we're going to get something done. It's like, we just need to quell the waters right now. We just need to calm things down.
Here's what's so fascinating, though, Joy. This is what I can't figure out, because, Shady, you just said he's not going to do it. I agree. The Trailblazers and Dame are kind of like that Spider-Man meme. Nobody wants to be the bad guy. They just sitting there pointing at one another. And we've been in those situations before, and I'm sure you have, the viewer. You might be in one right now. When you're in a relationship and you know it needs to end, but you don't want to be the one that breaks up. Oh, and they don't want to be the one that breaks up. Yeah. So y'all just stuck. Y'all just stuck looking at each other like, you gonna do it? You gonna do it? Like, because nobody wants to be the bad guy. The Blazers do not want to break up with Dame because, as Slick and Joy have alluded to, like, they have been the team that's held Dame down. Dame surely does not want to break up with the Trailblazers because he don't want to ever be the villain. But like two people in that relationship, eventually somebody got to do what the other doesn't and what they don't even want to do. And somebody has to say what needs to be said. It ain't going to work out. It's time for me to go.
Well, I don't disagree. And from that perspective, it should be the Blazers. But like I said 3 minutes ago, how can the Blazers do that? They're the ones that Dame has been loyal to. What do you do if you're the organization that the superstar who could leave anytime he wants to, could demand out, like so many players have done, is saying year after year that he wants to be there and he wants to win a championship in here and he wants to bring a championship to Portland, and then you let him go?
Yeah, when you know what you would essentially be saying to him by doing that is, we don't think we can win a championship with you. Which would be the biggest diss to a guy who has stayed there with you to try to make that happen.
The twist that they would play is that we don't feel like we can give you an opportunity to win a championship. But that's not what it is.
Yeah, but that's the move right there. See, like, you talked about the relationship thing. It's like this. It's not you, it's me. You know what I'm saying? I can't bring you that, so.
But then how do you sell? I hear you, but then how do you, as the Blazers, sell that to your fans? How do you sell, hey, we aren't capable of building a championship team around this superstar that we have, so we're going to let him go because he deserves better.
Right.
But please support us in our efforts to build a championship. Again, just now without our superstar that we had.
But don't every team go through this? Seriously, though. So, okay, so you brought them up. That was a good point. Now, I think it was different because they had a lot of stars there. They had three MVPs there, right? And they slowly, each one left. But my thing is, okay, when Westbrook was the last piece to leave, right?
Yeah.
They built that team back up. And OKC the next 2-3 years is going to be a team to compete with in the West.
But they've been slow rolling that. I mean, if you look at their record over the last few years, it's not like they're competed for a spot.
But Slick, it starts somewhere. The rebuilding stage starts somewhere. I mean, the Sixers, I've been there. When we wasn't good. They was giving tickets away for free. Shady, can you please come?
I ain't got nothing to do.
But now it's the place to be.
They're just also a really, really young team. I mean, Nurkic is 28. Lillard is 32. Every other player is under 24 years old. So there's a big gap. If you have a balanced team, you have a good mix of veteran players that are experienced with, some young players for their legs and athleticism, but they don't have that. They're already a very imbalanced roster. So they're actually not building for winning right now. And the only way that they could would be to move off of a big asset to bring in players, but the asset that they have is Dame.
And here's, though, why I don't think you can. Shady, as much as we want to laud, or you might even state about OKC, it's 3 straight years without making the playoffs. A 22-win season, I think a high 30-win season, and a 40-win season. Like, that's 3 years of real average to bad play. I just don't know if it's worth it. At least hold on to Dame, you got a star and you lose it. At minimum, you have a star and you're losing, but at least you got a star.
I'll give you this real quick.
Talk to me.
So I look at now all these players are getting so many, when they get traded, getting so many draft picks. You look at the Timberwolves, right? You look at different teams like that. Like, he got all them draft picks for him. You get a lot for Dame Lillard. I even take myself back to when I was with the Bills. I remember having a long conversation with Sean McDermott. I'm like, listen, we just got drafted Josh Allen. Cool. But we just let Sammy Watkins go, and then we picked up Calvin Benjamin. I had a long talk with him and the GM, and they had the nerve to tell me that, well, we think that, this was Sammy was healthy, he was looking good. Well, we think that him and Calvin was the same. I'm like, they're not the same. I said, listen, what are we doing here? I'm getting older. I'm still like that. You know what I'm saying? And I still want to make my money. So let me go, or if we're not rebuilding, which it looks like we're doing, because I'm not crazy. I got eyeballs. Y'all got eyeballs. If we're not rebuilding, then bring some players in that I can really work with. Bring some linemen, bring something here. And you know what happened? We couldn't get the money situation right. You know what I'm saying? I was supposed to make $6-7 million, and they want to give me a pay cut the next year. I say, this is what happens. You had me playing with these average players. My numbers look bad. I got the high cap hit. So now you want me to take my money now. When I told you it was going to happen before. Give me some players, and I'm going to give you the Shady McCoy results. It didn't happen. I'll go with the Chiefs, get a ring, and that's the end of it.
That's the end of it.
You see what I'm saying? Now you look at them. They got Stephon Diggs. They got Josh Allen, all these linemen. They got Von Miller. They got Poyer. You get what I'm saying? Don't drain this kid's career. Let Dame Lillard go out there and be a champion. He deserves it.
The Shady McCoy results.
I've been there.
I gotta figure out.
We're going to talk about it later.
It's lonely. Enjoy it. It's lonely when they losing. Your boys is winning, you losing.
Subscribe here to get the latest from Speak, and go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.